Hey guys, it's Kelsey and I'm back with Mad About Mini paper pads. I wasn't quite sure what collection I was going to use this month until I got my little haul from your creative studio. They sent me their little November antique themed collection, and there's 6x6 paper in there. So I figured this would be a really good opportunity for me to try to use all the products they sent me on one layout, and that way I can kind of give you a review. A lot of small businesses and businesses that I work with a lot, you guys know, like Christina with Redefine Creative and Speak on Scraps and all those stuff, and I really trust their products. It's always really high quality. These other collections or products, like people who reach out to me who I don't know, I do like when I do a haul to be able to use the products and actually show you how I use them, but also give you an honest review. I don't do a whole lot of these videos. There was one a while ago for the In Love Art Shop who had sent me some stuff to play around with. But I thought this was a good opportunity since there's 6x6 paper pad to use it for this Mad About Mini paper pad little collab we have. And so I went and I pulled a 12x12 from my wood grain paper pad. This antique collection they sent me is really heavy on the blues, purples, and greens. And I noticed when I unboxed it that some of the florals had some like snowflakes on them, so it was reading very wintry. And so the closest photos I had that was kind of winter themed were these two photos of Billy and the last snow that we had, which was last year sometime. And so I'm trying to tie this purpley blue in with the green of my photos. But I thought it was on theme with the snowflake motif that runs through this collection. So I wanted to go ahead and use it. So I have my wood grain in the background, which I like because it has both the greens and that purpley blue. So I'm really hoping the background paper can help merge the products with my photo. And again, I'm pulling in book paper for the How to Kill a Kit with Style theme for this month. So I'll definitely pull that. But everything else, I'm just exclusively trying to use the collection that was sent to me. So out of these 6x6 paper pads, I want to use them to map both of my photos, but one of them also had some nice corner clusters, like printed floral clusters on the paper. So I decided to fussy cut them and use them in as a cluster in either corner of the page. So I'm starting off by matting both photos in white. I'm using a green ink. This is from close to my heart. This is the Rosemary ink pad, which I really, really love. And I think this might be the first time I get to use it. I bought it when when I was getting a different collection, and I like to have coordinating ink pads, but I love the Rosemary color so much, and I didn't think I had a green quite like it. So I'm glad I'm finally using it now. But again, just trying to tie the green in with this purple and blue. And I think by inking everything in the green, it'll help with that. So that was my thought process. I really do like the quality of the paper in their collection. It's really thick. It has a nice texture to it. It's kind of an orange peel texture, which I know not everybody likes. But it feels like a nice solid cardstock, which I like, which also made this fussy cutting super easy. So I love the quality of their paper. The 6x6 paper, at least you can see there's is that 3x6 paper they also sent me, and that one's a little bit thinner. But again, if you're doing art journaling or something like that, you might like that part of the collection, having the thinner paper, that we can really do a lot of layers and it doesn't add a lot of dimension into your book. But I know people kind of always want to know about the quality of paper when there's looking into different kind of companies. So love the 6x6 quality of the paper. The 3x6 paper was a little bit thin, but I like that everything coordinates and it has a color story. And I like that they sent you several different types of things to have in the layers. So you'll see me pull in these tabs, the circle die cuts, the vellum, the stickers. I'm going to try and get it all on here so you guys can see, and the washi, which I'll get to when I get to it in the process video. But I'm just starting out by trying to get these clusters down. I don't really have a plan for this page. It kind of just came together as I realized how I wanted to use the products. But it helped that I had the book, the thesaurus paper, to kind of throw in for extra layers. And I think book paper goes so good with any kind of antique collection, because I loved it with P13, but I also love it with this very bluey purple collection, which it's very different, but somehow it works. So I'm just going to get these 2 corner pieces fussy cut, and then I think I'm going to focus on the corners for a little bit. I kind of know with the photos I want them matted on this paper and book paper, but I think I get sidetracked here for a minute when I start playing around with these corners, because once I got them fussy cut, I realized I wanted to layer some torn book paper behind them and just kind of tear it in a diagonal. You can see I practiced stamping with the 2 stamps that also came in this collection on that book paper. I thought it'd be cool to stamp on the book paper and then use the book paper on the page. So I wasn't sure if I was going to go with a blue or a green, but the green definitely won. But you can see I'm just trying to line up the floral and figure out how I want to tear this paper. And I think that looks really cool, but I decided to do a second layer of torn paper, which I think is everything. Like that, adding that second layer of torn paper made it look so much cooler. But I started out with just 1 layer. I'm going to ink it in green and kind of get the corners situated. And then I'll go back in and add some more torn paper because it just made it even better. I really want to do... I don't think I'll have time this month with everything that I kind of have planned. And I also want to get going on next month's videos since this month was pretty slow. But I really want to do a page that's just a bunch of this book paper torn and layered together, and just do a really kind of mixed media background with all the book paper. I think it would be really cool. But now that I have the basic shape torn, I'm going to ink the florals, ink the paper, and kind of situate it in the corner so I can see how I want to add to it. I will try stamping on the book paper in the upper corner, which I think turns out cool, but that's kind of all the stamping that I do. I kind of did not do well with the stamps that came in this collection. They actually were pretty detailed for like the detailed floral that they sent with the 2 stamps that I got, and I really like the design, and you'll see how kind of clear it comes out even on this book paper. I really like let me see. Yeah, like there's so much detail in that stamp. I really like the design of the stamp. That cling red rubber, though, this is the first time I've got to use it. I'm not a fan. I really wish it was the clear rubber stamping, because that did not cling to my block. I don't know if there's a trick to it. There was a plastic layer I had to take off before I stuck it to my block. But as you could see when I just stamped that, it kept falling off my block, which is not ideal when you're trying to place things on paper and you kind of get one shot to stamp correctly. So I did want to mention that about the stamps. I loved the design. And if you're going to stamp onto a separate piece of paper and then fussy cut it and use it on your page, cool. I think that would be really nice. But I did not like the red cling stamp. It just didn't stick well to my block, and I didn't like that I couldn't see through it to know exactly where I was placing it. So that was my thought on their stamps. But I'm glad that they give you a coordinating stamp with each kit, because I think that helps me stamp, honestly. Like when I use stamps the most, it's when there's a coordinating one with a collection that I'm using. I think it just makes it really easy to add a little something that you know will match. But that's really all the stamping I did on this page, so I felt it was a little sad. But I love this double layer of the torn book. I think that looks so cool. So I'm going to add another layer down to the bottom here as well once I get this floral glued to this initial bit. But I love how that looks. And I'm really getting a lot of mileage out of this one sheet because I'm just using the same one to get all of these different bits. But I'm going to ink this in green as well before I glue it down. But this is the kind of the base for the 2 corner clusters. And then I think I will move on to the photos, which again, I don't have a plan for. I just know I want to mat them in some of that 6x6 paper and some of the book paper. That's as far as I've gotten. But I want to make sure I use some of the stickers and tabs and all the other stuff that they sent me to the left there to make sure I kind of use a little bit of everything that they sent. And again, I will leave their link for the Your Creative Studio in my description box if you want to check them out. I did go, because they sent this to me for free just so I could try it out and show you guys, which I really appreciate. But I did go to their website to just see all their different collections and kind of so I could give you a price point. And I did want to let you guys know that from what I saw, their kits, which I unboxed earlier in the week, it's like $42, I want to say, which to me is kind of a high price point for what you get, because you don't get any 12 by 12 papers or anything like that. But you get a good mix of stuff, and it all coordinates really well. The only thing I didn't get on this page is, you can kind of see it behind all the scraps to the lower left, but that long sticker sheet that had the more concentrated stickers you guys saw in the unboxing, I didn't get that on here just because I thought the colors were too different. But that may have just been like a bonus thing they threw in with the kit. Maybe it wasn't intended to coordinate, but I didn't really find anything that matched too well on that, so I didn't use that. But yeah, I like the different, like they sent me stuff I've never really used before, like the little booklets with the different book paper and vellum, and I think that's kind of fun. I see people use that all the time in art journals, so it's fun that I have it to use and have it in my arsenal now. But yeah, I wanted to give you the price point so you could decide if it was worth it for you. But now I'm playing along with these little tabs. I thought about layering them on a couple of these photos, and it just looked too busy, but I decided to go in with a couple of these little sheets. This little booklet here I really like. They're just a bunch of different botanicals. These two I just pulled out are on book paper, and then this other one is on vellum. So I really think it's cool they give you like the book paper version and the vellum version. I think it would be really cool if you use the same picture between the vellum and the book paper, and you like sandwich that together, and you could almost like make an envelope out of it or a shaker pocket or something. I think that would be really cool. But just for this page, I thought I just wanted to layer them up and distress them and ink them a little bit and just overlap them so you get that look. But as you can see, I matted both photos on the 6x6. I trimmed it down and just tore the bottom edge. I wanted to continue that torn distress look. And now I'm going in with the book paper as a mat, and I'm going to tear that, just the bottom edge as well. And I really like doing that, like just tearing the bottom edge of all my layers. I just think it's really fun. It gives a really cool look. And then they also sent me a whole pack of these little circular die cuts, and I was going back and forth between using the blue and the green, but again, I'm really trying to use any excuse to pull green in so it goes more with my photos. So I will use 2 of the green ones and just add them into these floral clusters on either side, just as an extra layer, just as a little bit of interest. I didn't have to include it, but I kind of like that extra layer. It just gives you something else. It was looking a little too plain just having the floral and the book paper, so anything I can add in I think helps. So I am inking both of those in that green rosemary ink as well, but I'm just going to tuck those into both of these florals just for a little bit of extra something. And then I'll go back to my photos. I keep getting distracted. I keep trying to like layer with my photos, and then I feel like my clusters aren't done, and I was already working on the clusters, so I go back to them and I squirrel a lot making this page going back and forth. But I like how those little brown labels look. And again, I'm going in with more stuff for the clusters with the washi tape. I just wanted a couple layers of washi coming out to extend the clusters, and I also wanted an excuse to use it. I do like the design on the washi. I really like it. Coordinates perfectly with this collection. But the washi itself, like, I mean, depending on what brand you get, washi is meant to be semi-translucent. You can get washi that's more opaque. This one is very translucent, and I found that the design really got muddy going over the other papers, and even over the book paper, which is more of a neutral color, you really kind of lost the design of the washi. So I didn't love their washi too much. I don't know if all their washi is that type, but I wanted to show you what the washi looked like going over this wood grain and this book paper, so you could kind of see. I think if it was going over white, it would look really cool. But just so you can see what it looks like going over different patterns, it gets kind of muddy and dark, I think. But I think it's a cool layer, and I think it adds a little bit more texture and interest to both of the clusters. So I did just add the 2 strips of washi to the top and the bottom. And now I'm back with my photo section with the book paper. So I like the positioning. I'm trying to glue things down as I go without them shifting too much. But I love that first mat, so I'm just going to do something similar with the second mat. Just going to trim some excess off of the book paper. I really just want you to be able to see the text. I don't care about this open edge, the margins of the book, so I'm just trying to trim that stuff off. But I'm trying to do a similar size mat over here. Again, inking in green, and I'm going to do the torn detail, which I love. And then I will play around with a little bit more of the other stuff that they sent me. I think I got a little bit of everything that they sent me on this page. The only thing I didn't use was the sticky note pad, because I'm kind of saving that to use more as office supplies versus on a scrapbook page. And then the long border stickers that I talked about earlier. So got that down. I really wanted to pull in some more layers, so I did pull in 2 of those 3x6 papers, which I mentioned are a little bit thinner than the 6x6, but I just wanted another layer and to pull some more of that color in, so it's just not the florals in the corner and then the mat around the photos. So I wanted another one of those layers pulled in. So I just glued one to the top and the bottom, and then I went through the little booklet that has like all the passport type of motifs, which is also really thin paper, but I think would be really good for traveler's notebook or an art journal, because it's thin and that's like really good for that kind of like creating. But there's this one that has kind of a greeny tone, so I thought that would be a really good layer to pull in. Again, trying to merge the purple and the blue with the green, so you'll see that in a little bit. Again, I'm trying with these tabs. They're not working. I'm looking at the sticker sheet because I definitely want to get some stickers on here. But again, I'm not quite sure how to do that. So I play around a little bit with stuff until I decide what I want to do with the design. Again, I really like that these stickers coordinate perfectly with everything. The scale of these stickers are so much smaller, though, than the floral on the paper. I'm having a hard time using them together because I feel like the scale is so off. So once I kind of figure out what I want to do with other layers around the page, I will figure out what to do with the stickers. But I thought for a moment about using those stickers with the corner florals, and the scale was just too different for me to feel like that would look good. So I pull back a little bit and go back to layering. This is where I add that kind of green layer from that little antique passporty type booklet that they included. A lot of stuff in there I think would be great for travel, obviously, because it's like stamps and passports, but a lot of it had like the blue and white of like the US postage and that kind of stuff. So it was reading a little too patriotic for this page. That's why I pulled in more of the green one, which again, I love that extra layer thrown in. I think it looks really cool. So now that I'm inking those edges, getting those glued down, I will refocus, I think, on my last cluster. I know I want a title on here, and I kind of want a little cluster or something in the upper left-hand corner of the photo. So this is where I go in with those 2 little vellum and book paper botanical pages and just one tag. And I think the one tag, they give you a whole stack of these tags, which is great. But I was trying to use more than one because they gave me so many, and that's when it just got too busy. So I just used one. And I think that's solved the problem I was having before by trying to layer too many of them at once. But I'm committing, I'm gluing down all of these layers, and now I will start layering this book paper stuff. I'm tearing the edges of both of these for a little bit of interest. I'm going to ink those as well. And I just really like how this vellum looks layered over this other book paper one. I think that's a really cool look. So I'm going to glue both of those together to be like my little base for that cluster. And then I'll pull that tab back in. But I just needed a little something, and I kind of wanted an anchor point for my title. I'm thinking my title will go to the left of those little pieces. So I just wanted something up there to kind of, draw your attention to the title. And now I'm going in with some of these floral stickers. Now that I kind of have a smaller section, these florals look like they make a lot more sense with this small book paper. So I'm going to layer just a couple of them up there. I really wanted to use more, but I was worried I would get sticker happy. So I kind of just use these two bigger florals on the sticker sheet and stop at that. But I like that. And then I add this little tab, which I think really helps pull that bluey color up there too, just to tie in those florals a little more, and I really like that. So this is basically this cluster. Part of me really wanted to go through my stash and find some more stuff to pile on top of these florals in the corner, because I kept wanting to do like more, but I was worried if I kept adding it would kind of take away from the look, and I was determined to try to just use their products for this page. So trying to keep it at that. And then I will go in with a white alphabet for my title. I'm just going to title this Snow. It's not super original, but I just wanted to draw attention because my yard is still green. You barely see the snow. I want the title to draw attention to the fact that I took these pictures because Billy's in the snow. And he loves the snow. He always gets the zoomies, or he always got the zoomies when he was outside, even if it was just a little bit. He loved the snow. So I'm glad I have these two pictures of him. He's just kind of dusted in snowflakes. I think it's really cute. So got that down. And then as you can see, as soon as I put that down, the white really pops out at you because there's nothing else really white on this page. So I do go in with my little ink dauber that had some residual green ink on it and just kind of ink around the white. And I love these foam alphabets for this. They pick up color really well, and it's subtle, but you can see that's kind of dusted in that green around the edges, and I think it helps it tie in a lot more. So this is it. Here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, the description for this company will be in my description. Really had fun playing with their products, but I wanted to give an honest review. I don't think that it's really my style. I'm glad I got to play with it and show you guys. I don't think I will be ordering from them, but I still wanted you guys to see it all in case it is your style. Again, I think if you do art journaling and stuff like that, it would be really, really good. And if you like the antique aesthetic, because every month kind of has a different vibe. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.